out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here.
What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week?
I say there shortly. Me, I'd be looking to sell.
At what price?
More. Much, much more.
I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
NTV, turning on your world.
Use White Star Laundry Bar Soap with a lemon fragrance and you'll have a fresh, clean day. Be like a star. Use White Star. White Star Laundry Bar Soap. All day fresh clean.
Babe, you know you are truly an angel.
Oh.
I love your walk, your smile, your laugh, everything.
You know what else, babe?
What?
You smell.
Oh no, I'm out of airtime. Shops are closed. I have to wait till tomorrow before I can get airtime. She'll think I was saying she smells.
Get airtime instantly with your phone.
What?
Just use Airtel Money. Dial *185 hash, select buy airtime and follow the steps.
What?
Sorry, babe.
My line got cut. I was just saying you smell better than
Any flower in the world.
Top up with Airtel Money and get 100% bonus airtime instantly with every top up made. Now that's 100% extra from Airtel. Dial *185 hash to top up.
Dow storming back. Spieth.
To sit the match, put the points on the board early.
My goodness, look at that.
Obonyumiro ebyemizannyo jangu nkulage.
That one is the most important part, which we have to be there.
We'll bring you all the details that doing business has to offer.
Thoughts of the business leaders in the market.
The airline industry doesn't operate like any other industry, where you go in and buy a shirt and this shirt is 20 shillings today, it will be 20 shillings tomorrow, 20 shillings.
The analysis of the costs and the income in the industries. From wherever we are, we talk business, and that money matters where money indeed matters. Business is a must.
So, don't miss talking business with us every Thursday only on NTV.
Ekifo ekimu kisawa musu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakinaza mumwa. Tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo, embeera mw'okolera, ebyobufuzi, ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Ebyogerwa tebiyita. Tuusa eddoboozi lyo, yogera naffe buli lwakuna otereevu ku NTV akawungeezi.
I like your dress. It's because they've got these incredible boobs to fill it out. Heifer took it.
You're watching at
A very good morning to you if you're just starting the week with us. Thank you so much, NTV. First experience. Well, this morning I start the week on a very Apollo Karugaba, a very good friend of mine, lost his father. My friends Peter, Andrew, Rachel, and Julie lost their mother. If you lost someone, well, I hope God will take you through this time to comfort you. But if you're still alive, I hope you use our SMS platform, which is 6565. Code right here in the corner. Right? Please send it to 666. It will be appearing here in the right top corner. Please send it to 666 as we celebrate 8 years NTV, and of course every day at 6 o'clock. We'll face
and wounds on my back.
The 45-year-old broke down in tears as he narrated his ordeal at Ngogwe prison.
I was beaten for remaining behind the fellow prisoners.
Here at Ngogwe sub-county headquarters is where the alleged prison is. Ndaula claims he was tortured. Our attempts to talk to the authorities here proved futile, and we were told the prisoners had been taken to the farms for digging.
is that man was brought in the prison after he had been beaten. When he came back, he found the land being sold. Now he engaged the ones who had bought the land and actually beat him. Then they are the ones who took him to police and brought him to the prison.
A prominent human rights lawyer, Ladislas Rwakafuzi, has expressed concern at the number of torture cases reported by inmates in prisons.
Prisons are turning into torture chambers. It is very, 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 very important for the powers that be to institute a commission of inquiry.
But in this case, if within it says an individual beat him, then investigations will be carried out and confirm whether actually the individual beat him.
I feel that the OC is part of this thing.
We are going to institute a suit against the OC prison in Gogwe and the warders that participated in the torture.
Uganda is a signatory to several international human rights treaties like the United Nations Convention Against Torture. Additionally, Article 24 of the 1995 Constitution states that no person shall be subject to any form of torture, cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. According to 2014 statistics from the African Center for Treatment and Rehabilitation of Torture Victims, the police are reported to have committed 215 cases of torture. Between January and June this year, the UPDF reportedly committed 42 cases, while prison warders are said to have 18 cases out of 691 recorded.
The judges' rules that were made in the 70s should now be revised to include the new definition of torture which exists in the Anti-Torture Act, so that will be one of the conditions that will be taken into account in determining whether it is severe, or whether it's moderate, or whether it is lenient.
The Prevention and Rehabilitation of Torture Act 2012 prescribes a 15-year prison sentence or a fine of 70 million shillings to a person convicted of torture.
Now, the Uganda has over the years accustomed to seeing police officers unleash their few testers along the street. While a congregation of Christians at Kampala's All Saints Church startled to see the men form preaching and swaying hymns at a special service Police Sunday. Tumusime Witwari attended the service and now reports.
Sam Omala is the Kampala North Metropolitan Police, who's known to many demonstrators as the no-nonsense officer who quells riots. But he has a softer side, which he displayed at a special service for police officers at the All Saints Cathedral in Kampala. Omala was among the many police officers who occupied the front pews of the cathedral in the morning service. The Police Sunday attracted a number of senior men and women in uniform. Key among them was the director of CID, Grace Akulo, the police Fred Enanga, and the chief of Joint Forces, Michael Mugabe. Most of the service was conducted by the police, from taking the readings to the praise and worship and the sermon. The police band added a tinge of excitement to the day. The choir was joined in singing by the police officers who whipped up the congregation into a lively session of praise and worship. A police officer led the congregation into prayer. The congregation's biggest surprise was seeing the police chief of Joint Operations, Michael Mugabe, as someone like a veteran preacher.
I command cancer leave their bones. I command pressure leave their bones. I command every part of their sickness, I rebuke it. I command them to lose their lives.
And I was telling people some time back that the tear gas started with Christ. Because while Paul was walking to Damascus to do something evil, and
Mugabe, who is also known for leading police operations, cautioned the congregation against corruption.
I'm speaking as a policeman, and I actually still want to remain a policeman. And I want to tell you, corruption is a curse. The people that give money are giving curses. At the same time, people receiving it are receiving it a curse.
Police say this service was held to dedicate the force to God as one of its centenary anniversary celebrations.
We have punished, we have taken people to Luzira, we've done what, we've suspended, we have dismissed, but others don't listen. But we are saying, can we move with the Lord?
I still can't believe, but I've seen it. People like Omara to be here in the church today, from the bushes there, and Grace Akulo, you think this is a person of the crime, eh? Far away, you cannot reach him.
I'm so excited. The preaching was very good, the intercession was very good. You know, their participation, we see them as, like they were saying, as tear gas people.
It is not on many occasions that you sit next to a uniform-donning police officer in church. But when it happens, it does not only come to show that these people are churchgoers, it also shows that they are human. Gertrude Tumusime, Uitkware, All Saints Cathedral.
Well, some people have said it's nice to see a human face to the police. Or probably this will be every week. And you, of course, the men in the uniform there. Very good step to the police becomes a service, not a force. Keep starting this conversation on our Facebook page, Morning at NTV, Twitter at Morning at NTV. And you can go to our YouTube channel, NTV Uganda, catch more of that story. Now, a very pertinent question. Will the 2016 be a contest between President Museveni asked while Allah turned at the SAC Premier Amama Mbabazi? Well, at least for now, Mbabazi has cards close to his chest. It engages a carrot and stick up towards a politician who only recently part of the NRM inner circle.
Former Premier Amama Mbabazi's attempt to ascend the greasy pole will not be a walk in the park. Earlier this week, as the army raided his home and his guards were withdrawn, a palpable sense of history played out. For now, Mbabazi has been thrown under the bus.
As people who are watching, as outsiders looking in, I think it comes off as very crass and called for too much, almost, you know. So again, I think he comes off looking the better person. Indeed, it could be a statement to him, but I think at the end of the day, he knows what he's dealing with. He has been in those services for quite a long time, so he wouldn't be surprised by that. And so I think it's too much. The whole hula baloo, the show, calling members of the press to witness it, trying to, 5 trucks of soldiers.
Only yesterday, the president, who was welcomed back home by legions of his supporters from the United States, fired a veiled barb at Mbabazi, saying no one can reverse the gains of the NRM born out of blood.
To choose Mr. Mbabazi over the president of Uganda. In books, it might happen. If I was doing a movie and it was a comedy, you might consider it. It is completely impossible. And what's more, Mr. Mbabazi knows it.
Yet even those who dismisses in 2016 agree that perhaps his struggle belies the frustration question of succession.
I think he must be thinking along the same lines, because time is running. Age is having an effect on him, so he can't go on and on. I have said before that time comes when somebody must leave the dance hall, the stage. The party will be the decider in that affair.
A law don at Makerere University, Dr. Businje Kabumba, says the events which have played out in the aftermath of his sacking have turned Mbabazi into an enigma.
He has handled himself, as you said, extremely well. He comes off dignified. He came to Parliament without any fuss. He sat. I think he has done throughout. He has come off as very dignified, above board. It seems someone has pressed the panic button. I don't think the executive comes off well at all. I think they just keep making the wrong moves all the time. Sacking him at this time, I think, was a show of weakness, I think, rather than strength. I think the current move now just goes to further vindicate that view.
According to sources, Mbabazi, who is Secretary General, retains a fund at the grassroots, but still retains a financial war chest and the ability to neutralize him. If Mbabazi chooses to contest, he will have to prepare for a gritty fight between him and the president for the delegates at Nambole. The other scenario is the NRM organ, the Central Executive Committee, could refuse to endorse him to contest for the flag bearer position. However, Mbabazi has other options. He could contest outside the NRM stable as he tries to package a message aimed at gaining traction with the disillusioned. Emmanuel Mutaiziwa, NTV.
Story in a couple of minutes on the press with Joel and Simon, so make sure that's. But also, what some of your comments are. Do you think is the next move from Mbabazi? Do you think it's a smart run against the president 2016? Make sure you watch the press review. Now, our last story this morning is reported to have died of venereal diseases that recently reached Sango Bay camp in Wakai district. The camp leaders say the deaths have been since July. We have more in this story.
These are the children who survived a recent outbreak of malaria and diarrhea in Sango Bay refugee camp in Rakai. At least 40 children died in the epidemic.
Kisinga okubata okubeera wamu mu kafunda amazzi mangi mu kitundu kye tulimu kubanga wali fulaati enkuba bwetoonya amazzi gabeera mangi.
The chairperson of the camp, Joseph Turiachira, says most of the children who died were between the age of 5 months and 10 years, 10 adults. The condition in the camp, which is home to 4,906 refugees, are appalling. The camp is congested and has few pit latrines. Water is contaminated with filth. The poor diet in the camp has left the children facing malnutrition. Many of those in the camp are Rwandese and Ugandans who are from Tanzania. They survive on food rations supplied by humanitarian agencies. Turiachira has implemented to relocate the refugees to area with a better terrain. Students of Mutesa One Royal University and the Uganda Red Cross recently donated clothes and food items to the refugees.
Well, you can follow those stories on our Facebook page, which is NTV Uganda, and of course, Morning at NTV. And if you need to catch more of the video and comments, go to our YouTube channel, which is NTV Uganda, and of course, our new website, www.ntv.co.ug. Go to watch live, and you can stream maybe in your office, but also the latest, very beautiful app, NTV Mobi. Go to Google Play Store, download it, install it on your phone, and you can catch NTV wherever you are. As we celebrate 8 years, make sure we are together. And of course, here at NTV, we're giving you 100 motorbikes in 100 days. The code on the right top corner of your screen, you can SMS that to 6666. And good luck to everyone. And we'll be giving out about 8 gift hampers every day at 6 p.m. We're coming up. The stories that are making the headlines in the various papers, the Observer, the Daily Monitor, and the East African. Well, as usual, we always start, we've started, giving Joel a moment to unleash his rapacious English. So what does rapacious mean? I always get a message from someone who tells me, today, tell us the meaning of the word rapacious. Morning, gentlemen. And Kasiate, who has had a very hectic week from a symposium. What was that about, first of all?
We hosted all African hydropower generators in Uganda, and very specifically in Jinda, and very specifically by ESCOM, to move away forward.
Hydropower what?
Hydropower generators. Electricity.
I thought you were the only one.
No, there is Bujagali upstream and very many other places. There is the Kafue Dam, there is all these sorts of, you remember.
And those are run by different people.
Different people all together. And so we put our minds together to see how well can we utilize this resource called water, that of course is not insatiable, and how best can we utilize the available growing technology to generate more electricity with less water. So this is what we're looking at, trying to put hydropower generation to meet up with the times in the 21st century.
Okay.
And I can tell you we had quite very serious deliberations in there.
I was following your tweets.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So rapacious.
Rapacious.
Are you rapacious this morning?
No, I am not. Many times we blame our politicians for being rapacious. But being rapacious is to be greedy. It comes from rapacity, greed, theft, corruption, if you like. It's tethered to all that different.
Okay. All right. So tomorrow we'll have another one for you.
Well, let's take a gentleman down memory lane. On Monday, 13th July, 1998, His Excellency the President was addressing the first NRM conference, and he said, this Monitor newspaper, the one I'm holding here, it's Daily Monitor nowadays, he says, this Monitor newspaper is fond of smearing the NRM with cow dung. It would be interesting to know what the President thinks of this paper nowadays. But as we wait for
more dung than before.
I don't
They
know.
should just get a drum and top it. Well, Amama is obviously making headlines.
Every newspaper.
In every newspaper.
Even those that are not
every
here.
day.
This morning, every newspaper's top story has a Mama Mbabas or something related to that.
Well, the East African has a very serious, deep insight into loyalty and ambition in Uganda's politics. And yes, you can guess right who they're talking about. They're talking about Amam Mbabazi and his alleged fallout with his, well, can I say former or current friend, President Yoweri Museveni. And this stems from a meeting allegedly that Amam Mbabazi, President Museveni, and top army generals had many years ago, where he told his generals at one time, Amam Mbabazi will be your commander. And what we've been seeing here is a move by Amam Mbabazi to say, look, the president is reneged on our word. It's a deep story, and very many other insights in the East African on this issue. And this is written by Daniel Kaninachi. The other is by Joachim Buembo. You cannot miss such impeccable writings.
Could that have given Amama the push to, you know, say, well, this queue seems to be taking long. Let me start the conversation.
No. In this story is that President Museveni did seem to have promised him that he would take over from him. And so what Amama does as a faithful servant is to begin mobilizing quietly for the following reasons. One, perhaps not undermine the president, or to be seen to undermine the sitting president, and so you mobilize quietly. Also, others say that he did mobilize quietly because perhaps he also did not trust the word of his boss.
There's talk about that kind, agreement somewhere in the bush or that kind of thing that Amama would eventually take over. You hear it a lot, whether or not.
Well, Ofono Pondo in this story is quoted as saying, and he describes that allegation or that talk as rubbish.
Was he there?
Well,
Ofono
he's
Pondo
the government
was here in
spokesperson.
town eating sausages. So that he was not there. But, well, Daily Monitor here, top story, Amama told to resign from top NRM organ. Who is telling him to do so? Mike Mukula. With all due respect to this man, I think he's being disingenuous, he's being very dishonest. I am trying to be careful not to say he's being hypocritical. I think he actually is. You know, the reasons he's giving is that, well, he was taken to court and eventually was let go, so according to courts of law, he's not a rapacious man. But look, I find him very dishonest. He's saying, look, Mbabazi should step down. Why? Because you see, he can no longer work with His Excellency President Yoweri Museveni, showing interest in the presidency. I'm thinking not too long ago, this man was actually nursing ambitions to run for presidency. Of course, he realized it was a very tall order, for goodness sake. One Mukula.
How did he realize? You may wish to share with the viewers.
How did he?
Realize that was a top order.
That was a tall order. Well, his support primarily. But you see, for him to come out and say now Mbabazi should step down, why did he not step down when he was nursing those ambitions himself? Because
but you know what stopped him? You know what stopped him? The other day he was wearing yellow in very unfamiliar stuff in the Zera prison. So clearly, those are some of the things that really stopped him.
Well, the observed data was not verified.
Well, there we go. Expected perhaps. South Sudan again. Joachim is tongue-in-cheek column every week start in the East African writes South Sudan country jobs, leave them to fight peacefully. And of course, he's trying to make a stand against the other allegation or the reports that came in that South Sudan had banned the presence of foreigners for jobs, especially those in NGOs. That from receptionist to director, many of these were aliens.
Somebody was taking a jibe at them. I think it was over the weekend that the sun has gotten to the South Sudan head. I don't know. Quote of the day here in the Daily Monitor. This is Miss Jacqueline Mbabazi, former PM's wife. on withdrawal of guards. I think my children need a break. There's nothing strange. They wanted their security. This was when reporters were all over the place. An article somebody here does write. They say skilling Uganda is a big promise, but a huge failure. And the nitty-gritty there, read something we've alluded to quite a great deal on this show of not enough to have the competences of how to operate these machines, etc., but the soft skills. And this person feels those are not in place. So people will have the, technicalities or whatever it is they require to do a job, but the soft skills, which we tend to lack in this country.
The Observer said that there are features on the deep origins of the education sector, strategic plan from 2004 to 2015. There's a higher education students financing board that has been set up. And for me, I'll give it to government for even setting up the scholarship, scheme. So,
well, feeding into the big story this morning, we are reading in the Daily Monitor this morning that 3 girls trafficked to Kenya were rescued by in Malaba. There seems to be a growing of children being trafficked through the Kenyan-Ugandan borders, perhaps because of its porous nature, as an onward route to other parts of the country. But we'll be discussing and expounding much more on that when we return.
Promote government projects using media. This is according to one minister. You remember that time when everybody was huffing and puffing, government was saying, look, we are going to rein in on media houses to give a certain amount of time to government for their projects. They are concerned that we in the media, we much of the time put out what is negative. So I want to say they want to use us a lot more to ensure that government programs are, are put out there for everybody to know about them.
Well, we are waking up to another story, interesting one, but of course the sad one. In the Daily Monitor saying that government has only 3,000 TB vaccines left in the country. Have you had your jab against TB? Well, and interestingly, or should I say ironically, it is a story placed right above a National Drug Authority press release. But of course, the press release is talking about something else. Maybe the National Drug Authority had better address itself to the fact that only 3,000 TB vaccines are existent in a country of no less than 30 million.
The other day, I hosted a doctor who was talking about tetanus too and how dangerous it is. And he actually says that I think about 2 people out of 10 die when they come in with tetanus. And you're thinking, is this for real? So encourage people to go and make sure they are immunized.
Now that we talk about health, living here in the Daily Monitor, how mobile app aims to reduce child and maternal deaths. This is still a zike, like we like to say, on our heads here in Uganda. 16 mothers dying every day. Access to healthcare is still a challenge, etc., etc.
In the Observer, there's a feature on people, and
it is time to make an assessment. Has the Parliament scored well? This Monday at Hotel Africana, starting at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Come and debate on the performance of Parliament. It is free. Brought to you by Uganda Governance Monitoring Platform, Uganda National NGO Forum, and the Citizens Manifesto. Live on NTV.
As we celebrate 8 years, NTV breaks new ground with NTV Mobi. You can now watch the news and any of your favorite shows anytime, anywhere. And to celebrate with us, text the unique code which will appear on your screen to code 6 to enter a draw and stand a chance to win loads of gift hampers. And it even gets better. We have a grand prize of 100 motorbikes to give out in 100 days. NTV, we are definitely turning on your world.
On the next episode, brought to you by
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
That child you say you're carrying, is it Alcino's or Roberto's? What? Benny ran away from the police?
Salary jobs didn't work and you decided to be a street vendor. Without a license, you know it's illegal.
I can't believe this. He's so selfish. What a bastard.
She's carrying his child.
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
You're watching Morning at NTV. Simon Cassiati, Brian Molondo.
A very good morning and welcome to the big story here on NTV Morning. And yes, on the 29th day of September 2014, we're coming to you live from our studios at the Kampala Serena Conference Center. And this morning we'll be discussing yet again the issue of human trafficking. Not long ago, the commissioner, or should I say coordinator of human trafficking in the police, was here to discuss the same issue, but this time talking about older women. Today he returns to discuss the trafficking in children. What are the dynamics that are changing in this regard? We'll be back with that and more. Welcome back. Moses Binoga, coordinator for anti-human trafficking in the police. Good morning and welcome to this edition of Morning at NTV Big Story. Well, we are looking at human trafficking, and according to the latest annual trafficking in persons report by the U.S. State Department, we are told that Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi, this is the East African community, are among the nations that remain sources and destinations of trafficking for men, women, and children, sadly, subjected into forced labor and sex trafficking. Is this a true reflection of the realities on the ground from where you sit?
Yeah, it's true. We've had children, we've had children, adults, and women trafficked from Uganda from one place to another, subjected to labor and sex exploitation. And we've also had some incidents of children being trafficked from Uganda to some countries where they have been subjected to those forms of exploitation, including labor.
That is a given,
yes.
Afande Binoga, but
Yeah.
what makes this region the highest in terms of preference? Because at least from this report by the U.S. State Department, we seem to be the highest source and destination. What is so lucrative about this business that makes us in the fact that now we're antenna and discuss
for themselves, and then also that there are some incidents where they are using these children to promote their other criminal intents. For example, we've had a challenge that some of the organizations, the religious organizations, have sort of radical movements within themselves, amongst the Christian and the Muslims. And some of these organizations want to create a cadre of some youth, some young children who have those radical ideas, and then later on they can use them
to launch a jihad. But Afande Binoga, is it so much about describing exactly what these guys intend to do in terms of picking up children that they can use for their future criminal intent or other purposes? Or is it about sensitizing the parents more and say, look, do not let your child out of your gaze, do not let your child do not trust anybody, even their own relative? Is that a message that's trickling down very firmly to the parents or guardians of these children?
Yeah, that's the message we would want people to take. That's the message we would want people to take. We want people to understand that they should not trust people. They should understand that people open up these organizations for certain intentions. And so we first of all, the government also is the government agents within the various areas to scrutinize, to be on the lookout and guide the public. Because every organization which comes in, some of the organizations take it for granted. For example, this recent case, which was someone who has been operating a so-called orphanage since 2002, but with no license. He's not licensed, and he calls it an academy. He has no license from Ministry of Gender. He has no license from Ministry of Education.
Academy, yes.
And until 2012, KCCA, 2013, KCCA last year closed him. They ordered him to close. He refused. They took him to court. And now when they took him to court, he ran away. But when they closed the place, they didn't put in place a way of catering for the children whom he had collected. Some orphanages from as far as Guru, whom he was keeping there, in an illegal organization. So now, when it was closed, he has started now distributing the children to his other affiliates, and they are being abused. So what we would request is that following this, is that they need to scrutinize. First of all, the organization is in their areas, and also
you say he went to court.
He was taken to court.
And that brings me to the question of the legal regime.
Yeah.
Some areas or some schools of thought indicate that the laws are not repulsive enough not to propagate this vice. As some authority that is charged with averting this trafficking issue.
Yeah, it is true. It is very true.
And is there any move towards making the laws?
Yeah, it is very true. And we as the task force trying to fight this crime, we have reviewed several laws and made recommendations for the laws to be reviewed.
Yeah,
laws related to children.
Making recommendations is one thing.
Yeah.
These recommendations being implemented is another. Who then should be in charge with fast tracking these recommendations that you make?
Yeah. You see, crime of trafficking, it involves very many agencies. It is a multi-sector approach.
True.
And every several departments, several ministries have a certain role to play. And I think it is the role of the task force to fast track. But of course, every department has its own budgets, it has its own work plans. What we are trying to do is to interest the relevant ministries, lead ministries and departments to mainstream some of these issues. Because most of the laws, the old laws, were made without the consciousness of this crime. And this is not only in Uganda, it's the entire world. It is because the crime came to be recognized so much in 2000. It's not very old.
But you see, Moses, you are here whinging and whining over a bureaucracy in government that is failing to make your work even easier. And yet you are in the same government. And
we're shop to get a voucher to enter the group. Is what you do when you get there and you find that child isn't yours. I think that's, and out of that comes children. There is no need for a DNA test if the faithfulness carries on.
Only on men.
You can download movies at the lowest prices another fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
You're watching Morning NTV with Simon Cassiati, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Mulondo.
Thank you for staying with us. It's Morning at NTV. Have you downloaded NTV Mobi? Well, go to Google Play Store on your smart Android phone. I met people on the weekend who had like the first generation phones, I think, that were released in 1998, asking me if they can download NTV Mobi. No, you can't. But as long as actually your phone can access internet, you can download and catch NTV wherever you are. As we celebrate 8 years of quality entertainment and broadcasting, we'll also be giving you 100 motorbikes, and every day at 6 p.m. we'll be drawing, and of course 8 gift hampers, all for you. If you're Facebooking, if you're tweeting, if you're WhatsApping, if you're vibing, if you're Pinteresting, those on Google Plus, the hashtag is NTV8. That is NTV8IGHT. Celebrate with us as we do this. Before the break, we had Afande Binoga, and we're talking about trafficking children. A couple of things. Most of the children taken to Kenya are used for labor in team plantations, rearing cattle and maize plantations. It's not only Kenya where Ugandan children are being taken, it's all over our neighborhood. And 2 men were sentenced recently to 25 and 26 years in prison for selling 3 children to people in South Sudan. Of course, if you know any of these stories, please feel free to share with us on our Facebook page and Twitter. You can also come to the NTV studios at the International Conference Center, and let's follow these stories. And if you have any questions, go to our Facebook page, post it there. We'll try and follow up on those. Now, this morning, on Monday, every Monday, we talk about business and investment and how you can use your money properly. We're going to look at long-term investment in banking, and what are the things that you can invest in with a bank that will give you some money in the long term. Stay with us. And joining me this morning is Kunle Mayumi. Did I say it right? I tried.
You tried.
How do you pronounce it right?
It's Maje Kudumi.
Maje Kudumi.
Yeah.
Nigeria.
It is a Nigerian name, and it's a royal name.
Igwe. That's why I say Igwe. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Well, Kunle is the regional treasurer of Southern Africa and is from United Bank. This morning to talk to us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
good. But taking time off, we appreciate it. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Now, most of us will go and maybe do a safari, a savings account, you know, where we pay a fixed deposit, all that stuff. We'll get some 5 million put in the bank, and with 3 months, and banks promise us that, oh, we'll give you an interest like this. Or this morning I want you to talk about the long term, where someone can where the bank can allow us to use our money, you know, and benefit. What are some of those ways?
Okay, first, let me explain to you. Investment, as the name suggests, means that you are putting your money aside for a longer period of time.
Okay.
Now, the issue is, how long is long term? Some economies, what they will classify as long term is anything above 7 years.
Wow.
Oh yeah. In some, for most of us, anything from the range of 2 years and above is considered long term. But even in a very, the more primitive economies, that word, you could have a 1 year even being classified as a long term.
Would you regard our economy as primitive?
It's a very much advanced economy.
Really?
In Africa, of what year?
Can I? You know, because I've heard about that. I studied economics and about bonds and treasury bills, and how can one get them? Are they expensive to buy?
No, they're not. In actual facts, you are buying straight where every other buyer is buying. You are. The bank gives you a fee for doing it on you. Of course, there are some preliminary things you need to do. You need to register. Your bank assist you, and then you invest. If it is treasury bill, it is up to 1 year, 364 days, either 91 days short term, days, and 1 year. In banking, we still classify treasury bill as short term, but for some customer, 1 year, year is long. But if you really want a more longer term investment through banks, it has to be in government bonds. We have government bonds from the range of 2 years to 15 years in some country. If you go to some, it can be up to
65, and then Kenya 64, 61. You could almost feel as jittery as they would come. And Sylvia Nakazi were probably, for a moment, must have thought she would have lost because she missed her some free end. But eventually, the Gazelles did the job. That was satisfying. The men too needed to win 2 games over the weekend. They beat up on Kenya, and then, more importantly, beat up on Rwanda last evening. The game ending at about 10 minutes past 9. The final score 69-61. Stephen Omon putting on a clinic eventually to get Uganda to that level. It's a level we have never been to. We have never been to this level. So I think, like you say, an awesome weekend for Uganda basketball. I'd call it the greatest weekend that Uganda basketball has ever had. And for the players who have been part of basketball for quite a long time, Stephen Omonyo has been playing for 16 years and Henry Malinga has been playing for 14. I will tell you, they've never got Uganda basketball to this level. I've got to say, very, very satisfying time to have 2 teams qualify for continental competitions.
What does this look? Are we likely to bring it?
No, I don't think we have a chance. I don't think we're winning when we get to the continent.
Really?
Yeah, the margins are very big. Look at teams like Nigeria, like won 11 AfroBasket titles. Teams like Senegal, the Tunisians who won the last All Africa games, they're not yet at that level. But to elevate our game to go and even compete there, and even play against the best teams in Africa, we've all spoken about how the league has grown from having only players watch fellow players. When I used to go to the league 10 years ago, we used to be about let me say 20 people watching the game besides the players. The fans were about 20. Now today, they fill the Lugogo Arena, they fill the YMCA. We've hosted the Zone 5. We've won it before, back in 2005, but back then we didn't go to AfroBasket. Now, here, for where basketball has come, 19 years, and actually, yesterday I was talking to understand where it has come from. Yesterday I was talking to, he's a journalist himself and was actually a player in the national team. A story, back in the 90s when they played against Kenya, and he was the only one who could cross of the league. You've got to look where they were a few years ago.
Wow. Well, you know what? Congratulations, man. Obviously, now it feels like you are there.
Yeah.
Okay? And to all the stand up at the MTN Arena, all the tweets that were going, thank you guys. That's the spirit. When Uganda also plays Togo, we need the same.
Yeah, and actually, you've also got to thank King Saha for that song. It was an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
It was an amazing feeling.
Congratulations. I think you had predicted